What's up, everybody? Just real quick, down 33.7 pounds since December 19th. And since I've been working with them on January 9th, down 10 pounds on the scale, down 14.5 pounds of fat mass, and up 2.5 pounds of muscle mass. And that, if you did the quick math, leaves 2 pounds, mystery pounds, that we would equate to fluid inflammation. So overall, that is just insane results, which you're going to be sharing on this episode 2 of the FAT2Fit Show with Matthew and Coach Matt. And I'm super excited to have Matthew back on 2 weeks after our last episode. And if you haven't seen that one, you can go check it out on Triumph Nation TV on YouTube and also Triumph Fitness on Facebook, Triumph Fitness and Nutrition. So super excited to share the results of that you made. And today, real quick, what we're going to talk about is a quick overview, is basically some of your results, the impact that you're feeling. We're going to talk about the technology that Matthew is using. And most importantly, for you, the viewer, we're going to talk about and review the tools that Matthew is using, the tools that he has in his toolbox that are making this more successful. So, and I'll share my philosophy on some of those tools as we go along. So with that being said, if you need the full disclaimer, you can watch the first episode, but the purpose of this show is to document Matthew's journey from morbid obesity, over 350 pounds, down to a healthy, metabolically healthy weight. And we're going to do that in less than a year based on the track record he is having now. So we're not putting a time frame on it, but we're just going to document the journey as we go. So super excited to do episode 2 with you and tell the world how well you are doing. Matthew's really humble, and but I feel his energy in this process. And as a coach that gets to work with him, that gives me energy and fuel for the passions that I have. So, Matthew, how do you want to kick it off? How are you feeling? We just did a workout about a little over an hour ago, so you may be a little tired from the workout. But how are you feeling right now?
Really good, really good. The workouts have got me breathing. Like I don't know, everything seems better when it comes down to, even though I'm tired from the workout, but I'm standing up straighter. I'm feeling better in my skin. A little sore every once in a while, but it's just a good reminder of putting the work in, and I get satisfaction out of that too.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into that in more detail, but I want to share real quick with everybody tuning in. This is one of the technologies we're going to talk about, but this is how at Triumph Fitness and Nutrition, we use a $10,000 body composition analyzer, which is just one of the technologies we use. And Matthew's kind of taking a technology, or using a lot of tech. But this is our way to determine, when you get on the scale, that is often a frustrating, not very telling way to see what's happening. So the InBody, this is just a fraction of the information it gives us, but the most relevant to what we're talking about, which is metabolic function and metabolic health. And the way we can track that and document it on the InBody is, besides weight, which is the top graph, you can see from 334 down to 323.6 since January 9th. But that's what a scale would tell you at home. What this tells us is that from January 9th, he went from 100.5 pounds of muscle up to 102.5. So he's gaining muscle while losing weight. And we're going to dig in a little deeper on some of the tools that are out there. A lot of people are using the GLP-1 shots for weight loss, and I'll share my philosophy on that. But all the studies, and there's been more than 2 massive studies that were over 28 months, all of them demonstrate that if you do not do strength training, you're going to lose 30% of your muscle mass while you're losing weight. And that makes you metabolically less functional, not what you want for longevity, health, functional health. and glucose metabolism. So Matthew's gaining muscle, building a bigger, engine to utilize glucose, which will help in the functional health sphere while losing excess body fat. And that number is on the bottom, 157.6 pounds of fat down to 143.1. So already moving the needle, and we're just getting into momentum now. And I would like you to kind of describe the process a little bit when we get into the coaching tools of what it's been like on the exercise side, and then we'll dig into that. So that being said, let's get into the tech you're using. So I think it's fair to say you see his company there. It's a technology-based company, West Shore Web. And so Matthew's been a joy to work with because he embraces technology. So
analytics. I need the data.
The data. If you're a business owner like both of us, you love data, and what gets measured gets managed. And sleep tracking, we're not going to talk about, but that's another piece of data that we can use and we are using. And so
the Apple Watch I went with from your suggestion. Simply that, I need to use my tools, and that was one of your, let's get something where you can actually see what's going on.
Well, since you brought it up, what have you learned so far by tracking your sleep? And just before you answer that, there's 4. I want to give value to our viewers. There's 4 commonly available pieces of tech that have gotten really good compared to a sleep study you do in a lab or a Holter monitor or a sleep monitor they would send home with you at giving you, like I said, accurate, like 93% correlated of accuracy to what you would get in a lab. So that's pretty reliable information to track your sleep. And sleep, we want to know quantity and quality. And then the quality side, quantity is how many hours a night. And just like a scale doesn't tell you what's happening, a sleep tracker on the quality side will tell you REM sleep, deep or slow wave sleep, and light sleep, and how many times you're waking up. So with that preface, what have you learned from tracking your sleep so far?
Oh, it's helped me. It sets my bedtime so I can get the hours that I need. So it reminds me of when my wind time down is. It's worked out really well. It shows me that I fall pretty immediately into a deep sleep. Number of times of waking up actually has decreased simply because it's also tracking my breathing, and my breathing has gotten better as I'm losing weight, and possibly to the side of the Terzepitide that I had sleep apnea issues that have almost gone away due to weight loss and just managing that. Seeing the sleep schedule on I've only had the watch for 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to having 3 months of data to be able to go through and, and see trends better and, such, but it's so beneficial to be able to see what I'm doing is affecting way more than just weight.
Absolutely. And the importance of sleep, particularly with weight loss and functional health, is what Matthew just pointed out. We want to know the quality. So if you're not getting deep sleep, that's going to impair recovery. If you're not getting REM sleep, that's going to impair cognitive function and memory. And if you're waking up a lot, as the data would say or not, that's an indicator of potential sleep apnea. And does your watch track oxygen saturation levels?
It does not.
Okay, so that would be an additional point of data that would come from a sleep study. But if you're waking up a lot, that's usually a sign that your airway is closing off and your body's waking you up to catch your breath, and you get those gasps because your oxygen.
My wife has let me know that I no longer have that issue. I was doing that before, where I would stop breathing for 10, 15, sometimes 25 seconds. And she said that's completely gone now. So
that's amazing. That is amazing, because that sleep apnea was literally taking years off your life and also dysregulating cortisol. And when cortisol is dysregulated and elevated, you're going to put on fat easier. So this is that frustration a lot of you viewers may feel when you're like, I'm not eating that much. I'm really being good with my diet. I'm going for walks, but I can't lose the weight. It may be sleep apnea. And sleep apnea It doesn't mean you're necessarily overweight. I have sleep apnea or had it. And when I went through the process, there's 4 classes of airway. And like me, maybe genetically not so blessed with a class 4 airway is really open. If you look down somebody's throat, and see their tonsils sticking down there, this is a class 4, nice big open, 3, 2, 1. So 1, which is what I have, is very narrow opening. So when those muscles relax at night, it closes off the airway. And I regret not dealing with this earlier, but I always practice what I preach. So I was like, I asked my doctor if he would work with me and send me into an ENT, and I got a sleep study in a lab and confirmed that I did have it. And I've used a CPAP, and I'm going to do a whole episode on that on our What the Health show. So good news that clearly by the data supports that you're improving what might have been sleep apnea without having to go to a sleep lab. So, and that's some of the new data that's coming out with one of the tools we'll be discussing. So that's really cool. Let's dive in real quick to the other 2 texts or 3 texts we're going to talk about. InBody, which is those results I shared. Having access to that information, which downloads to Matthew's phone, and he just kind of screenshots it and sends it to me. How's that affected your motivation or just your overall, propensity for data?
That gives me the information that I'm proud of. It's I put the work in, I'm seeing the results, and I get to share it. I get to screenshot it and send it off to my to Hesed Health, and they get to see where their weight management plan is succeeding. And in fact, I sent it out to quite a few people just because it's to me it's really important to be able to see the gains, the losses, and I have to analyze it. So I'm excited. I go in there every Saturday, and the numbers you see on there were last Saturday. So I've got a few more days, and I can't wait to see what the new numbers are. So it's a motivation factor for me to get in there early, weigh in, get my numbers, and then work out again. So it's
just from what you said, like if you were just using a scale, it would have shown 10 pounds, which is still phenomenal. But because we have the InBody, we know you lost 14.5 pounds of fat mass and 2 pounds of fluid inflammation. So that's 16.5 pounds, which might be a little more motivating than 10 for a lot of people. And then on the plus side, Matthew knows we spent a lot of time, or I spent a lot of time with him and all my clients educating them on the value of muscle mass. That's why I say strong is young. But having muscle, VO2 max and muscle and strength are the 1 and 2 top correlators to functional health span, 10 times more important than blood pressure. And one of the benefits related to diabetes type 2 is muscle acts like a glucose sponge. So if we can support with data that you're gaining muscle and I see your strength is going up at a rapid rate in the gym, that gives me 2 correlating pieces of data and observation that say he's getting stronger, he's getting more muscle. That's going to help him deal better with any kind of glucose deviations he's getting from his food. So that's why we do it. And the other value to me as a business owner and coach is like being able to share that with my clients, and Matthew in this case. I know they're going to be more motivated when they see results. So it sounds like that's been true for you.
Yep.
Awesome. So let's get into the second piece, is a CGM, and CGM stands for continuous glucose monitor. And I'm wearing one on my belly, and I've been using it on and off for the past 2 years to track glucose response to different foods. And I teach a sequencing strategy to my clients to keep glucose levels lower for those clients that love to eat cake. So you can have your cake and eat it too if you do it in the right sequence. But Matthew's working with an amazing practitioner that is trying to leverage all the tools that we can. So with your CGM that you're using now for what? This is a 3rd week or 2nd?
3rd week, yep.
What have you learned? So the CGM measures real-time blood sugar levels. So instead of having to finger prick yourself, however often you want. It's giving him constant through an app what his blood sugar is all the time, and you can look at the trends. And what have you learned? What's your big takeaway?
Well, to start with, Hesed Health, Sarah basically said that she got me a sample just to be able to see what my blood sugars were doing. But she did realize she did let me know that she doesn't suggest using it long term for type 2. It's more of a type 1 diabetes for insulin injection. But she knows how analytical I am, and she was like, just don't obsess over it, because you can look at it too much. But for the data to be there when I'm done working out, and I can see a spike in my glucose based on how hard I worked out and how well I did. It's been really beneficial for me to have a number, that I can constantly look at. Don't want to obsess over it, but I do want to see it long term. I want to be able to see when I do start putting in any carbs or putting in any kind of anything other than the meat diet that I'm on. I want to be able to see how sensitive I am, each and every time, because like I said, I'm over analytical. Right. But it's a tool that I can look at, and I know what I'm doing based on what it's by what it's showing. And it's just another motivation factor for me to keep it in the right levels. And, I'm seeing that my daily glucose levels are trending lower, as I'm probably because I'm adding muscle. And, even though my diet's been the same for the last 6 weeks, I can see differences. I can see progress long term based on these numbers.
Absolutely. So yeah, Sarah is giving good advice, and I use it primarily to validate. I'm very ethical in my coaching, and I always want to practice what I preach, but also if I'm giving advice as a nutritionist, I want to have as much data and supporting evidence and research behind that. And so I want to show the viewers, I don't know if I can do this, but this is all my health apps. So I'm going to open up the G7 app, which is my glucose. And I'm doing a test right now. It's always the problem, but see, but there we go. God, these lights. But right now I'm at 118 and it's going up, which I probably should turn off my spotlight. But what it does, and I'm going to see if I can try to manipulate my camera a little bit, so you can see over the last 24 hours, there we go, the ups and downs. So those are variations, nothing too massive, but for me, most of the time it looks like a flat line. And I'm sure other than when Matthew exercises based on his nutritional approach, it's pretty flat. And most of the time, if I'm not doing a test, I just did a test with a smoothie that had a very ripe banana in it. And one of the things I tell my clients, you can have the best smoothie in the world through the lens of glucose and insulin. Smoothies can ultimately work against you if they're not, the ingredients aren't dialed in, so to speak. So I was curious to see with the banana versus without the banana, what my sugar response. And I just drank it like 20 minutes ago. So while we're on this filming, I'll have access to more information. But what I've discovered through the dietary approach that I call Carnivore Plus, and the plus is vegetables, and then 5 portions of fruits or starches per week. Over 12 months of cumulative data with a CGM, my average blood sugar is 92. And Matthew already just shared that his average keeps coming down. So we want a low average, not too low, a low average, and then less ups and downs. That's glucose variability. And when you manage both of those things and reel those in, you're essentially adding years to your life as long as you keep doing it. You could do it for a year and then go back to your normal ways and, have a little impact. But this is really a lifestyle, and that's our goal through this journey. And I can already tell Matthew's adopting. Well, actually, I don't want to answer or even say that. Do you feel the lifestyle you are migrating into, for the most part, is sustainable for the rest of your life?
I am. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm interested in, when I do start adding carbs and adding more things, I'm interested in seeing that data and, slowing into that water and being able to get, getting, like you said, smaller curves, smaller spikes.
Yeah, managing the
But yeah,
spike.
it's
Cool.
it's been a lot adding. I do a lot of protein on a daily basis, which is what was suggested to me, or part of my nutrition plan, and being able to maybe go a little less on the protein and adding in some vegetables, stuff like that is that'll probably make me happy for the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing the order of eating food because of the glucose monitor and being able to see the difference between if I eat my protein first or if I eat a starch or something like that first is going to be pretty key to giving me the best results for the food that I'm eating. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Absolutely. And now that's what I'm excited about. Now, we had a brief conversation while we're working out. The sequencing strategy I teach people, if you do it properly, and if you have the data from a CGM to support this, and or when you don't do the sequencing strategy and you say, holy crap, that's scary. Hopefully, Matthew, being a smart guy, would say, I don't want to do that again, to myself. So that's where the education and the data can work to your advantage and then influence future decisions. So when that time comes and you're working with your healthcare practitioner at Hesed Health, Sarah, I'm actually going to be going over to meet her because she's doing such a phenomenal job with you. I was like, I got to meet this awesome Sarah at Hesed Health, and just really excited because I'm always looking for healthcare practitioners that are kind of up to speed and know what they're doing and have the tools that we're about to talk about that can help be a catalyst for change. So that's a good segue for what I was going to put back up here real quick on the overview of the tools that we're going to discuss after we wrap up the MyZone. MyZone in the technology review is a heart rate monitoring technology. So I'll dive back into that just briefly. And I'm putting this up more for our benefit as well to keep us on track. But we're going to go over coaching as a tool, Terzepitide, if you're curious about that. We're going to talk about that in the dosage that Matthew's using. Testosterone, if you're a male and even a female, testosterone will wane. It actually, for men, the higher your body fat level goes, it's inversely correlated with testosterone. What does that mean? It means as your fat goes up, your testosterone goes down. And also, if your fat's going down, your testosterone goes up. And testosterone's a critical anabolic androgenic hormone that does a lot of important stuff that relates to fat metabolism and strength and muscle mass in the males and females. And then we'll wrap up with talking about his nutritional approach that was recommended and I also support. And so that's what we're going to get into. And then that'll be how we wrap up. But because I skipped over it, the MyZone system, that's our heart rate monitoring device that you wear in most cases as a chest strap. And it's got 2 leads on it, just like an EKG. And it's 99.4% correlated in accuracy to an EKG. It's the most accurate technology on the heart rate monitoring side. That's why I chose it. And we've been early adopters of that. And just from my experience as a business owner, we've caught 4 people in AFib with our device. And don't know if I could say that's life-saving, but AFib, if it goes undiagnosed for long enough, usually what happens, clot form in the heart chamber, and then those get into circulation. And if that hits, a closed or narrow artery, could block blood flow and cause strokes or heart attacks. So that's kind of the technology. Just like his glucose monitors reading his blood sugar real time, the MyZone reads his heart rate real time and puts it into different zones of intensity So that's kind of a little background about the MyZone system, but what have you found valuable having that information real time?
It gives me the
trying to kill you.
it gives me the idea that when I first started, I was high up in my percentage of my heart rate. I'm seeing it come down, and when I see it on the screen while I'm working out with other people in the group settings, because I'm analytical, of course, I'm looking at everybody else's monitor, and I'm looking at everybody else's. Where am I compared to other people? I see people who've been there longer. Their percentages are lower than mine, and I want to get there. So it's a motivation factor for me, and I get to wear it when I'm taking my off workout day walks, and it feels like I'm able to record a workout. I get to see the less work on my heart for the same amount of work on my body, which is giving me the confidence that what I'm doing is healthy. So it's been really nice to have.
Awesome. And we as coaches, and I have amazing coaches here at Triumph, it gives them a tool also to monitor our clients' intensity levels, to look for those outliers on the high and the low side. It just gives us more information to serve our clients and serve them well. And then it also gives you, I'm talking to the viewer now, if you want to really use the technology that we have available in our society today in general, what I love about the MyZone system, what Matthew's doing when he's doing his low intensity steady state, they used to call it LISS, more commonly referred to as zone 2 now. There's 5 zones of intensity. Zone 2 is basically what's been determined to be the fat burning zone. It's low intensity enough that doesn't stimulate appetite, but burns calories. But more importantly, it's triggering what we call mitochondria, the power plants of the cell, to be better fat burning motors. So that level with your monitoring, if you're not using monitoring, you're just kind of guessing. And there's the Borg scale of perceived exertion, where you might feel out of breath or you can't talk. That's high intensity. And then low intensity is when you can have a conversation like I'm doing right now. But this gives you more specific information. So with Matthew, we know we're getting the high intensity interval portion, which is the smallest piece of the exercise pyramid. Thank God, because it's a little bit miserable. And Matthew got a little taste of that last week. And then the strength piece and the heart rate piece in the zones 3 and 4, we get that in our metabolic volume workout system that I created. So you're getting all the cardio, metabolic, and strength all at the same time. And then the one that's hardest sometimes it's because of time, busy working parents, kids are in after school programs or sports, and they don't have a lot of extra time. So the hardest one is that zone 2 low intensity, which 90 minutes a week is the goal for most people. And that could be 190 minutes, 245s or 330s. And, just another tool that if somebody can do that, they are going to be as close to on point as possible. So that's a little bit about the MyZone. And what we really want to talk about is the tools in Matthew's toolbox. And that's probably what's going to be most exciting to you. Like if you want to utilize or create a toolbox that's going to equip you for the best likelihood of success. Matthew's using all of them at the same time. And I didn't even include the sleep tracking, but the big 4, the first being coaching. And I always describe coaching in the root word coach, like, stage coach back in the day, motor coach, the bus, coach class on an airplane. What are all those things? They're transportation devices or vehicles.
How you get there.
From where you are to where you want to be, unless you're going to prison. You probably don't want to be there. You don't want to be on that bus. But coaching, as I explained, is you're the driver of your bus. I'm the navigator. I'm just going to give you the best directions possible to get you where you want to go, given any obstacles and constraints that you may have. So on that note, on the last episode, we kind of talked about the wake-up call that Matthew had and how he ended up essentially hiring a functional health practitioner as a coach. And then that led, I don't know even how it led to his hiring me as his other coach, but let's start with the first one. So if you want to do this right, and this is why I'm excited to meet Sarah, because I want her in my toolbox for my clients. So if this goes viral, she's going to be too busy, but I don't think that will happen. But anyway, I'm excited to meet her and for having a tool as a coach to refer people outside of my scope of practice. And hopefully she'll do the same for me outside her scope of practice. So that's how that works as a coach. But for Matthew, you shared why you ended up there last time, but what's it been like having that coach, Sarah, in your case, in your corner to guide you to where you want to be?
That's given me the ability to make wise, informed decisions when I'm not always wise or informed on situations. It gives me the ability to, she has a self-pay model that allows people access directly to her. And that's the coolest thing, is to be able to text my nurse practitioner a question before I go to my primary care or before I go to a lab meeting to find out exactly what I'm getting blood drawn for. And she can look over everything, and she has the time to pay attention. She has the time to, it's actual health care. She's making choices based on what's best for me, the patient, as opposed to making the best choices she can with the time she has available per patient. So, being able to hear from her that, we need to take care of this diabetic diagnosis with nutrition. It was immediate that she said that you also need to start lifting. You also need to get a trainer, and you need to stick to a program that is going to allow you to hold on to your muscle mass or possibly increase your muscle mass in order to be able to take this on long term. So that was the correlation of, okay, well, now I know I need to find somebody, and I happen to know somebody that recommended you over anybody else she knows because she's been through your coaching before. And, I trust her recommendation. So, that was an easy, reach out to you. But then knowing that you were also directly on board with what Sarah's plan was nutrition wise, really solidified, I've got teammates. It's not just a coach that's looking in one direction and a weight loss nurse practitioner looking in a different direction. You guys are on the same page. And for me, that's essential for me to be able to feel comfortable with, asking questions of either one of you. And it's oftentimes that I'll mention things that you've said to me to her, and the same thing from, things that she said to me, I'll mention to you. And it's been very comforting to know that, this isn't about just completing your program. This isn't about completing her program. This is about me. So it's so different than what I've ever expected from healthcare. And I've never had a personal trainer, so I've never had a functional health coach before. And being able to see what that allows me to do, the level of me showing up, the encouragement I get, you're pushing me every time. There's no just show up and and go through the motions. There are no motions. It is directly targeted to what I need to be the most successful. And I think both of you guys have 100% my best interest, and it's made my job's easy. I show up. If I can show up, awesome, and I complete what you're asking me to do. Same thing with her. It's working really well.
And Sarah and I are aligned on so many fronts, which is surprising, dealing with so many different healthcare practitioners, doctors, nurse practitioners over the years, hundreds. And when I was doing my discovery with you, and you were telling me all the things, all the tools she was equipping you with, the roadmap she laid out, I was like, wow, this person's on point. She knows, because I spent thousands of hours insatiably learning from the best of the best on the healthcare, on the doctor side of the equation. And she's doing all the right things. So that's why I'm excited to meet her. And what Matthew is describing is kind of a concierge approach, and why I believe Sarah left primary, like traditional medicine, is there having to see like and manage 3,500 patients, where in a concierge practice, it might be 300. And what Matthew's talking about, he can communicate directly with his doctor. And I take the same approach, and I call it concierge health coaching. And we're even going to cap our membership at Triumph to 250 people. I'd rather serve 250 people insanely well than have 1,500 people I don't even know their names. And it might be better for me as a business owner to have that, but me as an ethical, impact-driven health coach, I'm just excited for having taken 250 people. If I know I can add 5 to 7 quality years to their life and their kids and seeing weddings and grandkids, that's the reward and the legacy I want to leave. So that's kind of what Matthew's getting on concierge on both sides. And I think you would share that it's not insanely, like Matthew isn't, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. He's got a business, but would you tell the viewer that it's affordable? You have a family, you have kids. It's not like you're insanely rich. Would you categorize it or call it affordable?
It's priceless. the reality of what it is, and when it comes down to both her services and your services, they're affordable. I have to make a little sacrifice here and there when it comes down to what I'm choosing to spend my money on, but it's not I don't have to change my lifestyle compared to what it's actually doing for me. So like Sarah's business, they have a monthly plan where you can sign up, 6-month commitment, a 1-year commitment. You can save an extra 10% or whatnot. She has different programs for different things you're looking for. And like even her labs, she has the self-pay model of labs that I was sent to go to. My primary care ordered labs for me. And this was just yesterday. And I looked at it. I called up the lab company and found out what my copay was going to be, and it would be over $300 worth of copay labs that I would have to get. And when she looked at the numbers, she basically said, "These 4 labs that they're sending you for, we don't need those for the next 6 months. These are things that you only do every 6 months." So she reformulated the labs that are needed in order to give the primary care doctor all the information that was needed that she was looking for. And skinning down the bill to where it was way more affordable, and I wasn't paying extra for things I didn't need. And that was an hour and a half before I had my meeting or before I had my appointment for the blood draw. And I'm sitting in the parking lot texting back and forth with my nurse practitioner about how she's going to save me money. It was it just that doesn't happen anymore. And then when it comes down to
because she cares, but B, her practice is designed so she has the time to serve you. And and I do the same for my clients with the caveat, like text me anytime, but give me grace period, because I'm often with my clients. And like I know Sarah's booked today other than the time that we have together. So so there's always a little caveat to that. But I always say, if it's on your mind, text me, because it's a question or a teaching point that we can always use. So we encourage that. It's never a bad question or never a bad opportunity. And that's kind of the advantage of concierge medicine and concierge coaching on the functional health side. But so given
I feel the same way with the what I'm paying for my coaching through you. Like it's the same situation where, I will text you, and sometimes it's 9:30 at night, and sometimes it's 7:30 in the morning, and being able to get feedback that's informed, that's accurate. And, it's, like I said, it's priceless, so when it comes down to The group stuff too, man. I'm meeting people in the group training sessions that are encouraging me. You know, we see each other twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, I'm keeping an eye on their heart rates. I'm looking to see, you know, am I doing as good as they are? But, you know, I'm meeting real people that are all doing the same thing I am, and they're recapturing their health in a way that, you know, that a lot of people don't understand. There's an option. It's not a rich person's option. This is a, you know, make your priority your health, and then, you know, connect. You know, once you're in, it's priceless.
And that word priceless is essentially a concept in my book, The Magic Pill, you can see over my shoulder there. I talk about an analogy like investing for retirement. You got to invest in your health account. And all the things that Matthew's doing now is he is growing a massive amount of wealth, like he won the lottery, and putting that all in his health account. And so he's really investing in his health. And there's a big difference in that mentality versus treating it as an expense. This is an investment that's paying you dividends longer. This is an important point, because if the first question somebody asks me is, what's it going to cost? I know it's going to be very hard for me to convince them through a growth mindset mentality that this is investing in your health. I'll certainly try, but if you think of things as cost basis versus results basis, it's a very different mentality. So Matthew shared that in our discovery session, and that's why I want to do everything to equip him for success. So that's your health is your wealth. You hear me say that if you follow me at all. And if you don't believe me, when you lose it or you have to be in the hospital, you would start trading a lot of money out of your bank account, especially if you're getting a sentence from a terminal disease, like very famous examples. Steve Jobs, who died of pancreatic cancer, he would have traded his entire Apple fortune for another month to spend with his family. And he said something to that effect. So that's just a quick mentality seed I want to plant there. But let's get into the tools that you're using besides coaching, which is the biggest one. And a good coach is going to provide that roadmap and keep you accountable to it in a loving, encouraging way. That's my philosophy, not a drill sergeant, guilt-driven kind of way. But the 3 tools that I want to focus on today, in the order of probably viewers' interest, is Terzepitide, or just GLP-1s in general. But one of the tools that you're using is a molecule or a drug called Terzepitide, which is actually 2 agonists, a GLP-1 and a GIP. Share with everybody. A lot of people may be on the fence with it. Real quick, my philosophy is, because I get asked all the time, what do you think about the weight loss shots? Because a lot of people in my industry think it's cheating or being lazy. My philosophy on that, or what used to be used a lot, phentermine, is that if it's used as a catalyst for change, and it's going to give somebody the results and early motivation that it requires to create a sustainable journey, and they are motivated to create a lifestyle to maintain those changes, I am all for it, because, you know, the science backs that it actually works. There's a lot of things out there you can completely waste your money on. Anything on TV that claims to burn fat, shred your midsection, boost your testosterone. Yes, Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas, I'm calling you out. Those have little proven results, and it's just going to be a waste of money. But Terzepitide, in this case, that has massive amounts of study data behind it. And here is a real actual user. And I'm going to reveal 2 that I'm actually experimenting with it, because I'm an experiential learner. And if my clients are going to be doing something, I'm actually doing a very short protocol just to feel the effects. And I can share, but I think more importantly, I think, Matthew, why don't you share what you've noticed since you started using Terzepitide on your journey?
No, it's changed my ability to make wiser decisions when it comes down to
This
my
is what it
food.
looks like in an
Yep,
injectable
that's the
bottle.
bottom. And it's something where immediately my nurse practitioner noticed that my weight was an issue. At the same time, my insulin resistance is an issue, and the hormones, the two that are in that the Terzepitide, target both the ability to better deal with the insulin resistance, as well as giving me the ability to make wise choices when it comes down to the diet, the diet plan that she has put me on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made profound differences with my mental state when it comes down to sticking to the nutrition plan 100%. In fact, and sometimes it makes it harder for me to complete, eating the amount of protein I have to get, just because most of the day I'm feeling satisfied. I don't have the feeling of I'm missing out. I go out to dinner with friends, and anybody can order whatever food, even if it's my favorite food, right around me, and I look at it next to me, and it looks really good. Don't really want it. It doesn't matter, what I'm eating, I still feel satisfied.
It's
Um,
helping with the willpower part of the success equation.
it is. And then part of the other nutrition part was the 16/8 fasting plan that she wanted me to be on, and all, to also lower the glucose pump, lower the insulin pump going on. And I've actually altered that myself and went to a 18/6 eating plan, just because I've noticed I don't have the hunger pains. I don't have the need to snack. I don't have, it's, if for anybody, like, I'm really happy to hear that you're being able to try it, to be able to see the difference. But anybody who hasn't had that satiety feeling without food or without whatever habit makes them satisfied, it's hard to explain. And
That is. My experience in the last, it's only been 2 weeks, this being the second, and I'm on the lowest dose, and I never experience hunger anyway using my sequencing strategy, unless I'm doing carbs on an empty stomach CGM test, blood sugar test. But what I've noticed, like, it's really pretty powerful. In the negative side of that is, and this is true with the clients I've managed on Terzepitide particularly, is I have to remind them they have to force themselves to maintain at least a base level of protein so they don't lose the muscle mass. And what I've noticed over last week is that, like, I worked through lunches more often than not last week, and that trend was starting this week. And I was like, I had to logically, consciously remind myself and put it in my planner, like, eat lunch. So it's very effective on that front, but it can serve you wrong if you're not working with somebody smartly, or have a good plan if you want to be self-managed, to make sure you're getting enough protein. You're not starving yourself, because that's going to backfire long-term. And you're doing strength training. And the reason for that is, like I said earlier, the studies, the 28-month and 24-month studies, both showed that 30% muscle mass across the population for those using the study drugs. And then that means your metabolism slowing down, your joints aren't protected, you don't have the strength to get up, and if you fall down as you get older. So those are all things you don't want. So you may not perceive that because you have less weight to lift, but eventually it's going to come back to haunt you. So, and then your metabolism goes down. So it's kind of a self-defeating journey if you approach it that way. So that's why I was super excited that Matthew is working with somebody that knows these things and told him. What was that process like? Because I've had other clients that work with concierge docs, and they make recommendations, but I almost feel like hers was strong enough that you knew you needed to do something.
Yeah, hers was more of a, we know what this is going to do. And when you're, mainly because of the diabetic side of it, I'm going to need to have that muscle mass. And if I lose any of it, it's working harder against me to be able to do long-term changes from this. And she doesn't want a quick fix. She wants long-term actual health. And, some doctors may not, they want to show the results, and they may want to be able to show the results and have other people, talk about how well it worked for them. She honestly just wants me to have long-term health. She's my advocate,
Exactly. And I feel her genuine desire and love, honestly, for you and in your journey. So that's why I'm excited to meet with her. And I'm 56 years old, so I've kind of committed to keep these under 56 minutes, and we're coming up on over 50 minutes. So real quick, the other tool is testosterone replacement therapy. And on the male side, that's going to, especially if you have a lot of excess weight, typically, I don't know if you want to share your measured level or not, but typically you're going to have a low testosterone. And when testosterone's low, you're not going to build muscle properly. It affects sleep, fat metabolism, energy, brain fog, and it's not cheating. Within 3 years, at the rate we're going, all the supportive aging, anti-aging data and studies, it's going to be, it wouldn't surprise me if like insurance would penalize you if you didn't do it, because they want to save money on you being in the hospital. There's massive catastrophic bills. So insurance is all about the money. So if they know they can spend $100 to have you on testosterone replacement therapy to save them $50,000 hospital visit, they might mandate you doing it. That's where it's going. I'm predicting it.
Yeah.
So those of you that think, oh, that's cheating, or I would never do that, it's just an exogenous, outside the body way of bringing back your hormone levels to optimum, just like thyroid medicine does with thyroid hormone. It's another tool, but I don't look at it as a tool, almost like as a necessity as we get older. So have you noticed anything specific to those levels coming up, sex drive, energy, desire to come to work out, sleep?
Yep.
From using
part of the motivation factor is being able to lift more. And I'm getting those gains faster.
Recover faster.
The numbers on my first lab, I was down to 200, and optimal between 750 and 850. And so I'm on a journey of bringing those numbers back up, and it's an every 2 week injection, and for everybody that needs to know this, I can't stand needles. I hate it, but at the same time, it helps me show up. It helps me know that, I'm using the tools that are given to me. And if I have to take 2 or 3 shots every week or every 2 weeks, that's actually motivating me to get in there and say, well, I'm having to do these treatments. I need to get in the gym, and I need to see gains, to make it worth it. And I can feel a difference every single day. I don't know if it's how fast I'm recovering. The strength is something, I've been tired for years, just tired. I don't know if it was lugging around a 350-pound body, or it was just the fact that, metabolically I was ruined. So, the foods I was eating and, everything changed, but the testosterone's really made me, I don't know. It's a sex drive thing. It's a feeling better in the morning thing. It's more motivated to go to the gym, more motivated to do better at the gym. And even after the workouts, I still feel like I'm standing up straighter. I still feel like, maybe I'm slamming my car door a little bit too hard. It's just like there's a big difference that I can tell, and that paired with the plan of, these are the workouts I need to get to. And, the encouragement that you're giving me when it comes down to, I'm doing more and more on the weight, and you can see the gains in the InBody scans. they're all compounding motivation factors that, that keep me interested, keep me happy. It's just another, I'm satisfied with the work.
Fuel for the fire. It's just, again, for the viewer, if you're watching this, or the listener, if you're listening to this, I would just encourage you to work with somebody, whether it's a doctor or a nurse practitioner, and or a functional health coach, to help manage you through the process. There's a lot of people that are just cash grabbing, and the protocols that I see that some of my clients are coming in on are either insanely outdated from things they were recommending 20 years ago, and we're doing things very differently, or don't make any sense. So just make sure you work with somebody that knows what they're doing. The easiest way to do that due diligence is just ask the person, the doctor, practitioner, coach, like, how many people, patients or clients, have you worked with in the last 3 years that are similar to me, and what were their results? That's the magic question. Easiest way to vet somebody is asking that question. How many people over the last 3 years have you worked with that are like me, male or female, whatever your age demo is and what your goals are, and what were their results? And if they can't share that information with you, and a doctor might say, I can't share that tip, but like, just say, give me the generic numbers. I'm not asking for names. Right. And if they kind of get tongue-tied or can't access that immediately, that's your answer. Bolt. But if you're local, one of the things that we're sharing through this journey, Matthew's mentioned her many times. I'm about to go meet her. Well, I got to sign off and head over there. But Hesed Health here in Seminole and Triumph Fitness and Nutrition, been doing this for 26 years. I'm passionate about helping people that are in the growth mindset, that want to change. They want to have the tools. They want a roadmap, but they're also motivated to drive their own bus down that road. I can't drive the bus for you. So that part's yours, and we'll be very patient and gracious with you during the process of change. I was sharing with Matthew, one of my other clients, I'm very patient with him because I realize I'm undoing 60 years of programming to one way, and I'm trying to help reprogram him to a lifestyle that's going to add years to his life and all the benefits we just talked about. So we don't have time to get into the carnivore diet, but we're going to dig into that next time. And in the comments, we want to do a full episode just on Terzepitide and the GLP-1s like semaglutide, under different brand names like Ozempic and Zepbound, Mounjaro. But we'll do a specific deeper dive on that, and then some of the more telling evidence based on our experiences. And then we'll also do one on hormone replacement therapy for women, and TRT for men. And then we'll get into different nutritional approaches to gain functional health and or lose weight. And that's through dietary restriction, calorie restriction, are the two big ones, or time restriction. So Matthew's kind of doing two of those three, or actually all three. Dietary restriction, carnivore, which, most of the time restricts calories or lowers calories. And then he's also doing intermittent fasting, which is time restriction. So those are two powerful strategies, depending on your goals, to, at least in Matthew's case, to facilitate the changes he's looking for and his practitioner is looking for. So any last words before we sign off?
She had me on more of a keto. It wasn't full carnivore. She doesn't want the high fats. So my carnivore is
you're on lean fat, carnivore.
Lean carnivore.
Less keto than high fat carnivore.
Yeah. So, the keeping the fats down was important to her. And also just for her, the name of the business is Hesed Health, HESED -health.com. That'll allow you to be able to connect with her. Can't recommend either one of you enough. Like, it's the like I said, the teammates of being able to have people that are in tune with me, my health.
Just
is
recapping,
amazing.
down 33 pounds already since December 19th. More importantly, a lot of that is fat, and you actually gain muscle despite losing that much weight. So he's fighting those study trends I talked about, gaining the muscle, building his metabolism while losing the fat and gaining metabolic health. So if you like this content, please like, share, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you think this would be valuable for somebody, maybe you've been through this kind of journey yourself, and you have a friend or family member, somebody at church that may benefit and can share from firsthand knowledge that Matthew is journeying through, maybe this would change their life. Maybe this would be the catalyst to their change. And working with myself or Hesed Health or in their local area, hiring somebody based on those criteria I just described earlier, that gives us, Matthew's in this the same way. He agreed to do the show because it's an opportunity for us to change somebody else's life. And kudos to Matthew for agreeing to do this and being so transparent. That's not something you experience that often. So I'm very happy to be journeying with you, Matthew. And if you're watching me,
Same.
I would love to help you on your journey. So that being said, until I see you in the gym again, Sarah, if you're watching, which you're not, because I know you have a patient right now, I'm on my way. We're looking forward to meeting you. And after I do my due diligence, I'm sure I'll be screaming from the rooftops, promoting her business too, like Matthew is. So y'all take care. Have an amazing day. Remember, strong is young, and the why in triumph is you. And do it right. Get yourself a coach. We'll see you next episode.
Thank
Ciao.
you.